Hey, Hare Krishna. Okay, now we're live streaming on YouTube. I'll begin the kirtan unless someone wants to volunteer. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Saraswati Mashi, would you like to lead the Pramadvani?
Oh, yes. Jai Vishnupad Paramhams Parivishkacharya Sto Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramhams Parivishkacharya Sto Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anand Koti Vaishnavrind Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री गंगा मैया की जय। श्री जमुना मैया की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ब्रुद मृदंगा की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्तिवेदांता स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। All Samveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna, Gora Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, welcome everybody to Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. Today we're beginning with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, Text 22. 4:22:22. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Just to let you know, I need to leave quite early today, around 7:15. At which point I'm wondering if Saraswati Machi would be able to take the chat.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And would you like to begin with the first text, Saraswati Machi?
All right. Text 22. Sa Shraddhaya Bhagavata Dharmacharyaya Jignashya Dhayatmika Yoga Nishtaya Yogeshwaropasanaya cha Nityam Punya Shravakathaya Punyaya cha. Translation. Attachment for the Supreme can be increased by practicing devotional service, inquiring about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, applying bhakti yoga in life, worshipping the Yogeshvara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and by hearing and chanting about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These actions are pious in themselves. Purport. The word Yogeshvara is applicable to both the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna and his devotees also. In Bhagavad Gita, this word occurs in two places. In the 18th chapter, 18.78, Krishna is described as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari, who is the master of all mystic power, Yatra Yogeshvara Krishnaha. Yogeshwar is also described at the end of the 6th chapter, 6.47, Same Yuktatamo Mata. This Yuktatama indicates the topmost of all yogis, the devotees, who can also be called Yogeshvara. In this verse, Yogeshvara Upasana means to render service to a pure devotee. Thus, Narottama Das Thakur says, Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Payache Kiba. Without serving a pure devotee, one cannot advance in spiritual life. Prahlad Maharaj also has said, Naishamati stavad urukramang sparshati anarthapagamo yad atharha mahishyama padarajo bhishikam nishkinchanan navrinti yavat. One should take shelter of a pure devotee who has nothing to do with this material world, but is simply engaged in devotional service. By serving him only, one can transcend the qualitative material condition. In this verse, it is recommended Yogeshvara Upasana, that one serve the lotus feet of the topmost yogi or the devotee. To serve the topmost devotee means to hear from him about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To hear the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the mouth of a pure devotee is to acquire a pious life. In Bhagavad Gita 7.28, it's also said that without being pious, one cannot engage in devotional service. Yesham tvavantakatam papam jananam punya karmanam tedvan moha nirmukta bhajanti mam dradvrataha. To become fixed in devotional service, one has to become completely cleansed from the contamination of the material modes of nature. For work in devotional service, the first item, Ado Guru Ashrayam, one should accept a bona fide spiritual master, and from the bona fide spiritual master, inquire about one's transcendental occupational duties, Saddharma Pracha, and follow in the footsteps of great saintly persons, devotees, Sadhu Marga Anugamanam. These are the instructions given in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Sri Rupa Goswami. The conclusion is that to increase attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has to accept a bona fide spiritual master and learn from him the methods of devotional service and hear from him about the transcendental message and glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this way, one has to increase his conviction about devotional service. Then it will be very easy to increase attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Jnanantimirindasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Well, Srila Prabhupada leaves no doubt that foremost in every conditional soul, especially one in a human body, is to always be in the association of devotees who themselves are completely surrendered to the gurus in the parampara and who have no material desire or are beyond contamination of the material modes. And Sri Sanatan Goswami in his Hari Bhakti Vilas has also said, Ato Gurum Pranamayam Sarvasam Vinidvedya cha Griniyad Vaishnavam Mantram Diksha Puruvam Vidhanataha. It is the duty of every human being to surrender to a bona fide spiritual master, giving him everything, body, mind, and intelligence. One must take a Vaishnava initiation from him. And so Srila Prabhupada has directed this very important first item, Ado Guru Ashrayam. The Guru is the perfect guide, mentor, and a true representative of Krishna. And time and time again, Srila Prabhupada has said how we can become trained by the Guru and learn all the important tenets of bhakti. Yasya deva para bhaktir, yasya deva tatha guru, tasyati katita hi artha prakashante mahatmana. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in the Lord and Guru are all the imports of Vedic knowledge revealed. So this is one of the most important things. And further, in addition, Srila Rupa Goswami has also stated that anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. One must accept only that which is favorable for bhakti and reject everything else that is unfavorable. So we know without the Guru there's actually no possibility to enter into devotional service that can lead us to Krishna Prema. The Guru is an expert at studying disciples' nature, potential, and how to best guide and chalk out a pathway for that disciple so that they can make solid progress on the path of bhakti. Of course, the very last sentence gives you the ultimate goal, and that is that we have to somehow or another increase our attachment for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada says that one actually has to engage in pious activity and have their impious and sinful acts very eradicated before they can actually be firmly fixed under the shelter of the spiritual master and make progress. So that's also important. It's not that one can, on the one hand, continue with all illicit sinful acts and then at the same time think that they can still be eligible to be situated firmly in bhakti yoga. That does not go hand in hand. That cannot happen. Pranams Param Pujya Gurudev on all the Vaishnavas. Gurudev, if you have some comments. Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, you're muted.
Sorry, I had to put out an alarm. Hare Krishna. Om Gyan Tmirandasya Gyananjana Shulakaya Chakshuni Tanjena Tasmai Shri Gurudev Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Atishu. The third reference. In this section, Sanat Kumar is explaining how to advance in spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. And there's a list of things that one needs to do. Just as in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, there's a list of the items of knowledge, items for the cultivation of knowledge. So here also, these are items that one should take up in order to advance in transcendental knowledge, culminating in pure devotional service. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur later says that that the description involves a mixture of devotional service and the cultivation of knowledge. He says that this is just, yes, and he says that this culminates in the description with reaching the point of devotional service in Shantarati. There's devotional service in the mood of a servant, in the mood of a friend, in the mood of a parent, in the mood of a lover. But below these is the mood of appreciation. And what's the word? Well, among the standard examples of this devotional service and appreciation are the Kumars. They're great sages who come in touch with the Lord. That whole incident is described in the third canto, and go from the personal point of view to the personal understanding by the Lord's grace. This is the kind of situation described as being characteristic of devotional service in at Shantarati, and to be a very learned sage and to be attracted to the devotional service of the Lord. Sa means that devotional service previously described. Shraddhaya Bhagavatam Acharya, performed with faith, with the activities of Bhagavad Dharma, Vigyasya, Adhyatmika Yoga Nishtaya, with inquisitiveness and with transcendental faith in yoga. Yoga Nishtaya, a conviction in spiritual understanding. And then Yogeshwara Upasanaya. There, as Prabhupada explained, there are two kinds of Yogeshwaras. There's Krishna, the Supreme Yogeshwara, and the devotee, who's the devotee of the Supreme Yogeshwara, and who's a master of the transcendental system of Bhakti Yoga. Yogeshwara Upasanaya, in the 13th chapter of the Gita, Acharya Upasana, who worship the Acharya, or the spiritual master. And yes, Yogeshwara Upasana and Nityam Punya Shravā Kataya Punya, to hear the transcendental activity of the Supreme Personality of God. So these are all favorable or important for devotional service. And Srila Prabhupada particularly emphasizes Yogeshwara Upasana, taking shelter of the devotion of a bona fide spiritual master. See if there's something here. Krishna. Yes, he said this was the first four verses about the prominence of bhakti. And it's a sentence. This and the next three verses all form one sentence. Bhakti appears by pure discussions about the Lord, Punya, Shavaha, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, we have something in the chat. Saraswati Mashi, can you take the chat from now on? And then for the next text, I'm wondering if Panchatattva Prabhu is available after the question.
Sorry, driving. Thank you for asking.
Okay. All right, maybe Venkatesh Prabhu or someone else can take. I need to leave the call. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so from Praveen Prabhuji, we have he's written, in the last two verses, Sanat Kumar had already mentioned devotional service as the goal and sense gratification as futile. To mention it again and again, doesn't it sound like redundant?
Repetitive, yes, but redundant, even if we think it's redundant, this is a frequent way for the pastor to emphasize something, to say it again and again. Just give me one moment to clean these glasses and we'll be able to see the world. So he mentions devotional service again and again. In part, it's because Srila Prabhupada's really pulling out pure devotional service, really highlighting devotional service. So even where the words devotional service are not repeated, Srila Prabhupada repeats them to focus us on the right understanding. Otherwise, where Sanat Kumar himself is repeating it, it's for the same purpose, so that we'll stay focused on the central understanding. Hare Krishna.
Venkateshwar Prabhu, can you read text 23?
Yes.
Maybe I'll read it, if that's all right. Artendriya Rama Sagostra Krishnaya Tat Sammatanam Aparigrahena Cha Victor Ruchya Paritosha Atmani Vina Harer Guna Piyusha Pamanat. One has to make progress in spiritual life by not associating with persons who are simply interested in sense gratification and making money. Not only such persons, but one who associates with such persons should be avoided. One should mold his life in such a way that he cannot live in peace without drinking the nectar of the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. One can thus be elevated by being disgusted with the taste or sense enjoyment. Purport. In the material world, everyone is interested in money and sense gratification. The only objective is to earn as much money as possible and utilize it for satisfaction of the senses. Srila Shukadeva Goswami thus describes the activities of the materialistic persons. Nitraya kriyate naktam yabhayena chabhavayaha divacharte yarajan kutumba varanenava. This is a typical example of materialistic persons. At night, they waste their time by sleeping more than 6 hours, or by wasting time in sex indulgence. This is their occupation at night. And in the morning, they go to their office or business place just to earn money. As soon as there's some money, they become busy in purchasing things for their children and others. Such persons are never interested in understanding the values of life. What is God? What is the individual soul? What is its relationship with God, etc. Things are degraded to such an extent that those who are supposed to be religious are also at the present moment interested only in sense gratification. So this is the materialistic atmosphere. Artendriya Rama, Artha Indriya Arama, taking pleasure in wealth and sense gratification as the only business, even if one is supposedly religious. His real interest is sense gratification and wealth. So, Sagosti Atrishnaya, one should not be eager to associate with such persons. And not only such persons, but those who associate with such persons. We don't want to cultivate that company. The number of materialistic persons in this age of Kali has increased more than in any other age. Therefore, persons who are interested in going back home, back to Godhead, should not only engage in the service of realized souls, but should give up the company of materialistic persons whose only aim is to earn money and employ it in sense gratification. They should also not accept the objectives of materialistic persons, namely money and sense gratification. Therefore, it is stated, Bhakti Parashanubhava, Bhaktir Parashanubhava, Viraktiranyatracha. To advance in devotional service, one should be uninterested in the materialistic way of life. So, again, as we find in the Upadeshamrita, that Sangatyagat Sato Vite, one should be keen to avoid the association of this materialistic people and get the association of pure devotees, because our association will influence very strongly what direction we go in life. If we associate with materialists, we'll be materialistically influenced. And if we associate with devotees, we'll be influenced toward devotional service. That which is the subject matter of satisfaction for the devotees is of no interest to the non-devotees. Yes. Bhagavad Gita. Sadhasha sarvabhutani tasyam jagati samyami. What is that? Jagati bhutani sadhasha. What's night for the devotees is day for the materialists. What's night for the materialists is day for the devotees. Simple negation or giving up the company of materialistic persons will not do. We must have engagements. Sometimes it is found that a person interested in spiritual advancement gives up the company of material society and goes to a secluded place, as recommended for the yogis especially. That will also not help a person in spiritual advancement. For in many instances, such yogis also fall down. As far as jnanis are concerned, generally they fall down without taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. So it's a warning that, all right, it's recommended for the yogis to go off to Shucho Deshe Pratishtha, to go off to the forest and put down a deer skin and a soft cloth and so on, in a sacred place, a secluded place, Vivikta Desha, Sevit Tvam. So there are recommendations in Shastra for going off to such a place. But Srila Prabhupada cautions us, don't do this. Don't imitate the yogis and go off to a secluded place to execute devotional service, rejecting the material world. But practice Krishna consciousness in the association of devotees. That will be effective. Simply giving up bad association will not be sufficient. Our man is a social animal. So yes, if you're a yogi, you don't have to be a social animal. You can just practice in a secluded place. But for us particularly, in this age, no, don't try to imitate the yogis. Associate with the devotees. The impersonalists or the voidists can simply avoid the positive material association and cannot remain fixed in transcendence without being engaged in devotional service. Just rejecting the material world is not sufficient. The beginning of devotional service is to hear about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is recommended in this verse. Vina harer guna piyusha pada. One must drink the nectar of the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. And this means that one must be always engaged in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. It is the prime method for advancing in spiritual life. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recommends this in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. If one wants to make advancement in spiritual life, by great fortune he may meet a bona fide spiritual master and from him learn about Krishna. By serving both the spiritual master and Krishna, he gets the seed of devotional service, Bhakti Lata Bij. And if he sows the seed within his heart and waters it by hearing and chanting, it grows into a luxuriant Bhakti Lata or Bhakti creeper. Creeper is so strong that it penetrates the covering of the universe and reaches the spiritual world and continues to grow on and on until it reaches and takes shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Just as an ordinary creeper also grows on and on until it takes a solid shelter on the roof. Then it very steadily grows and produces the required food. The real cause of the growing of such fruit, which is here called the nectar of hearing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is to water the creeper of devotional service by hearing and chanting. This is of interest, that the fruit is hearing, drinking the nectar of the qualities of the personality of Godhead. And the process is the same, to hear and chant the glories of the personality of Godhead. Hare guna piyusha, without without drinking this nectar, one can't achieve perfection. Guna, hare guna piyusha, drinking the nectar of the qualities of the personality of God. Even if we talk about Brahman, you have to talk about it being all-pervading, it's being this and that. These are qualities. These are qualities. Although the impersonalists are interested in Nirguna Brahman, the absolute truth beyond all qualities, they still have to wind up having to talk about qualities. All-pervading, free from dualities, and so on. So these are actually qualities of the personality of Godhead, but they're only the beginning, or they're the aspect of the personality of Godhead for those who are on the preliminary stage, the Gyanis, those who appreciate the Brahman aspect of the Lord. More advanced are the yogis who appreciate the Paramatma, and the most advanced are the devotees who appreciate the nectar of the qualities of the personality of God. Purport is that one cannot live outside the society of devotees. One must live in the association with devotees, where there's constant chanting and hearing of the glories of the Lord. The Krishna consciousness movement is started for this purpose, so that hundreds of ISKCON centers may give people a chance to hear and chant, to accept the spiritual master, and to dissociate themselves from persons who are materially interested. For in this way, one can make solid advancement in going back home, back to God. So Prabhupada gives this conclusion: associate with the devotees, live in the association of the members of the Krishna consciousness movement, take advantage of the hundreds, Prabhupada says, of ISKCON centers, accept a spiritual master, hear and chant, and make solid advancement. Don't take this method of just trying to make advancement in a solitary place. Partishtara, what is that? Kore, Nirjanana, Kore, Tava Harinam, Kevam, Kwaitava. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also advises Dushtuman, Tumikishar Vaishnava. My dear mind, what kind of Vaishnava are you? You're just interested in getting false prestige by imitating Haridas Thakur, chanting in a secluded place and relishing the highest mellows of devotional service. Don't be a fraud. Just associate with the devotees and make tangible progress, make solid progress by hearing and chanting under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, and avoiding the association of materialistic persons. Always associate with devotees. Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, may I ask a question that's rather sensitive? It's a rather sensitive topic.
The question that's what?
It's on a rather sensitive topic.
Sensitive topic. Go ahead.
Well, we've read about how the karmis, jnanis, yogis may fall down, but sometimes devotees, in a premature stage, may fall down too. And we know even in Srila Prabhupada's time, I know of one person that couldn't live it down and decided to end their life Based on that, could we say that that wasn't something what the guru would have wanted that disciple to do, but that action was done out of personal sense gratification because that person couldn't live it down?
Yes, that example is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Sanatana Goswami wanted to commit suicide. While traveling through the jungle, he'd contracted what probably called weeping itches. And when he reached Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so pleased that he embraced Sanatana Goswami. Whenever he would see Sanatana Goswami, he'd want to embrace him. But Sanatana Goswami thought this was terrible. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraces me, and then all the nasty stuff from these sores gets smeared on his body. So he decided that he would commit suicide. And I think by throwing himself before the cart of Lord Jagannath, jumping off Govardhan Hill. And of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being omniscient, understood what Sanatana Goswami had in mind. So he asked Sanatana Goswami, is it all right to destroy another's property? And Sanatana Goswami said, no, that's unethical. Then what are you planning to do with this body? This is my property. I have things I want to accomplish through your body. I want you to reestablish holy places in Vrindavan. I want you to set the standards for pure devotional service, writing books about that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu indicated that, as you're saying, that to end our life for our own personal considerations is a kind of sense gratification also. That more higher than all such considerations is the service of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the service of the bona fide spiritual master, the service of Guru Guru. So, yes, there's a place also in it may be Mukundamala Stotra, purport to Kundamala Stotra, where Srila Prabhupada says that simply to lament about one's lack of devotion or what have you also becomes a kind of sense gratification. We find such lamentation in the prayers of Narottam Das Thakur, songs of Narottam Das Thakur, and in other places. But when that lamentation becomes the cause of holding back from serving, then it becomes sense gratification. In the songs of Narottam Das Thakur, it becomes an impetus for service. Lamentation becomes an impetus for service. But not that we simply lament, oh, I could never advance, and then we don't do anything. That becomes self-indulgence. So, again, the conclusion that one should hear and chant in the association of devotees. Make solid advancement. Hare Krishna.
Raveen has posted a question in the chat box. Just a second. But at the same time, we see Mahaprabhu seemed to approve of Chota Haridas committing suicide. How to see this?
Yes, I was just thinking of that example also. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, how should we say? He's teaching. He's teaching. So, of course, at the point of his teaching in the incident of Chota Haridas is not to promote suicide, but to underscore how important it is to honestly pursue devotional service and not to engage in feminine association while serving in the renounced order of life. Ahanta Hanta Bishop Lakshanato Prasad Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that for a person serious about crossing the beyond birth and death, it's imperative to avoid the association of materialistic persons, Vishayina, Atayoshitamsha, and to avoid the association of women for sensitive. So that instruction is so crucial that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected Chota Haridas, and Chota Haridas committed suicide, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even approved. But we're not advised. So take this up, follow the example of Chota Haridas by giving up your life, committing suicide, but rather be strict, be scrupulous about avoiding the association of women for sense enjoyment and the association of Vishayana, those whose business is to try to enjoy happiness from serving the senses. Hare Krishna.
Murari Prabhuji has posted, Murari Gupta also kept a knife under his mattress to kill himself, and Mahaprabhu spoke similarly.
Yes. So these things are there, but we're not supposed to be a suicide cult. And when we're disappointed, when devotional service becomes difficult, when we fail in some way to meet our own expectations or the expectations of others, then we commit suicide. No. Also, when we come to persons like Murari Gupta, then their interests, their feeling that they should commit suicide is an expression of ecstatic love. It's an expression of ecstatic love. We can't imitate. And if I also keep a knife under my mattress to kill myself, then that means it's another sign that I'm advancing in devotional service. That becomes again anunkar, imitation. Hare Krishna.
So Guru Maharaj, those that did commit suicide, even if they're a devotee and committed suicide, don't they become ghosts?
That risk is there. That Chota Haridas, of course, became a ghost, it seems, but he got the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was heard singing the glories of the Lord. So, what is that? He kalyana pit kashtit durgatim atagashti. The devotee, for someone who's done devotional service, there's never misfortune as the final result. He's always fortunate. But now let me just see. So even if he becomes a ghost, just like Bharat Maharaj became a deer, so Chota Haridas becomes a ghost. Whatever may happen, these are he finally can't give up the devotional service of the Lord, he picks it up again. Purvabhyasen Tenaida. Priyate Yavashokisa. He picks it up again. He picks it up again. But we should not risk becoming ghosts. Becoming a ghost will be difficult. All right, because of previous devotional service, one may hear the Maha Mantra again and again, come to the point of getting a human body. But why should we go through all of that or risk going through all of that? We should take up the positive steps. If we take up these steps listed in these verses by Sanat Kumar and take them up in the way explained by Srila Prabhupada, then we can be, Prabhupada says, solidly situated in devotional service. And being solidly situated, we'll make advancement. We won't risk becoming ghosts or falling down into material activities again. So we don't want to be on the edge cases, as they say, just on the margin of devotional service or proper conduct. We should be solidly situated. And here are the instructions, argument, how to be solidly situated in devotional service.
Venkatesh Prabhuji has posted, Mahaprabhuji was all-knowing, but nowadays there can be fake or real news of such fall-downs like Chota Haridas. So how to know where to put faith? Is it enough?
Anywhere else but the internet. Anywhere else but the internet. We read Gramya Katha. If someone has a fall down, immediately it's headline news on the internet, and it's made a topic of gossip and mental speculation. That will not help us. Even if someone does have a fall down, what kind of Vaishnavas are we that we want to relish the nectar of hearing about this, how a devotee had difficulty, how they had some fall down, or might have had some fall down, or how they thinks he must have had a fall down, or how doing XYZ proves that he's, and on and on and on. What kind of nectar is that? Here it said that one should drink the nectar of the qualities of the personality of Godhead, not the nectar of hearing about the problems, real or exaggerated or imagined, that a devotee might have. Why should we want to take that as nectar and drink that? That's mistaking poison for nectar. But I interrupted the question.
I was just saying, is it enough to just practice oneself nicely and Krishna will guide further?
We should be in the association of devotees, not just practice. Practice nicely means practice nicely under proper guidance and in the association of devotees. That isn't enough. So all right, in the association of devotees, have to know whom to associate with and so on. But if we become just hypercritical of devotees, we become the kind of person that one should not associate with. A Vaishnava Paradi, a person who takes pleasure in hearing of the difficulties, again, real or imagined, of others. We should be interested in hearing Bhagavad Katha, Krishna Katha, not in just going on and on and on, or in trying to pose oneself as righteous because one, what's the word, declares that one has zero tolerance for anyone who's transgressed the principles of pure devotional service. This kind of what's the word? Posing oneself as righteous without understanding the conclusions of pure devotional service will not help us. Krishna says, sadhureva samatha. Even if a devotee does not only fall down, but does something sudurachar, abominable, sadhureva samatha. If he sticks to sincerely to the path of devotional service, Krishna says, I consider him a sadhu. Samoham sarvabhuteshu, I'm equal to all living beings. But ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya, mayi te teshu chapya. If someone's engaged in devotional service to me, and he's in me and I'm in him, therefore sadhu eva samanta, he must be considered saintly. Very quickly he'll come to the standard. We've reached
the end. Venkatesh Prabhuji, would you like to lead the closing kirtan, please?
Yeah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prasadi Vishesha Sunyavari Asatya Vipatadi Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Srivasadi Gaur Govinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Ho Vishwal Bhagavan Srimad Acharya Ashtadasha Shri Sri Hrivangi Sesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai Radha Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Nama Shri Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Giri Govinda Ki Jai Siddhanta Pradhan Ki Jai Navdeep Bhai Pradhan Ki Jai Vedas Puri Dham Ki Jai Kulabai Yamuna Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai all responsible duties, all glories responsible duties, all glories, to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
Thank you to everyone for joining. His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj Shri Ki Jai.
the Prabhupada Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande Hari
Hare Krishna.
Jaya.